I enjoyed him a lot. I'm, I was, I'm 5 years younger than Jim, and being so, I wasn't spoiled like the younger ones that he hauled around and helped walk and do whatever. But so I was more like a nemesis to James, and so at a young age, though, I did appreciate Gary, John, and James. And the things they built, I remember the drawbridge that Matt spoke about. I remember a clubhouse. We had a meeting with kids, and we said we're going to build a clubhouse up by the tree, and we put a pipe, and we had all kinds of stuff up there. We slid down. It was a blast. And considering that, Jim was, I should say, and Gary were quite creative, and they had I guess my dad subscribed to Popular Mechanics, and so they got a lot of ideas off that. And I remember them building a boat, and Grandpa taking the boat down by the dump. There's a little creek down there, and we floated the boat. We have pictures of that. And I was just impressed, and it didn't stop there. Jim was only like, and Gary were 12 and 14 years old. I was 7, I was impressionable, like, wow, this is pretty creative. But I remember they went on to build a train with wooden tracks, wheels, and whatnot. And I was thought, wow, this is pretty impressive. But that never was finished. But I think it was due to funds. They didn't have the money to finish it. But our life as kids, I would say, was really unique. We knew we weren't rich, but we never felt poor. And with that said, James and I had a lot of fun together. We all had to work at the bakery. I know what that was like. Everybody does. Sometimes on a hot Saturday afternoon, things would get kind of, I don't know, we're bored, but so we're still making rolls or we're doing cookies. And I remember many a times I would get bored, and I remember taking a piece of dough and smacking Jim right in the face across the bench. And Jim just like, okay. Now the bakery only had a front exit and a back exit. And I knew when I smacked him in the face with the dough, I was dead. I shouldn't have done it. But I did, and I knew I couldn't run out the front because they had plenty of customers. So I thought, I got to go from the back. After darting around the bench, he caught me going out the back. And the first thing Jim did is grab me, put me in a headlock, and find a box of shortening and give me the dippity-doo thing with my head. And I just cried out to Mom. I go, look what Jim did. And I wanted some sympathy, some retribution or something. And all she just laughed and said, quit clowning around and get back to work. But Jim was a lot of fun. I did a lot of things with him. With Jim, you may not know this, I shot him. And not too many people know this. I know Claudia knows, but we were up to Markleyville Mine during our annual mining assessment work that Grandpa had us do every August. We had to get the assessment done. We put it off. We're up there. And I was pretty young. Jim was 18 at the time. I was probably 12. I wasn't quite the engineer Jim was. But on the side of the mine, the first mine down there, it was really steep down to the creek. And I thought, I'm not digging the ore out, so I'm making a trail, switchbacks down to the creek. Jim comes over, looks at it, goes, this is a joke. It's like, it will never hold up. And I said, well, it's just like, it will. I think it's okay. He was right. It was a joke, and my engineering design wasn't that great. And Jim says, well, it'll just collapse. And I said, well, just stay away. And he said, no, I'm not. I said, look, you come down here, I'll shoot you. And so I had my rifle with me. And Jim he called my bluff. Jumps on the trail, and sure enough, my logs all fell down and he destroyed my trail. I was so mad. I picked up my rifle and I gave him 2 shots. BBs, okay? Right in the thigh. Oh, Jim just blew up. And I thought, okay, I'm dead, but I still have the gun, so he didn't approach me. Jim played his cards right. He went to Grandpa and Dad and said he was just shot in the leg by Steve. I was like, oh my gosh, I am dead beat. And one thing in the family, in the Fox family do, you don't swear. I found out you don't do gunplay. Yeah. And Grandpa and Dad reprimanded me horribly for having shot or taken a gun and shoot my brother. And the rest of the night, I just felt really bad. I remember Claudia coming to the camp. It was a talk of the camp. Steve shot Jim. I was sick. But all in all, Jim, of all my brothers, I have done more things with Jim than any brother that I had. Jim and I built cars together. We did the 914 Porsche. And I remember
It had welded fenders. We didn't know anything about it. Grandpa came down and showed us how to weld the fenders on. After a week and a half, Jim and I finished the Porsche. It was beautiful. And Jim was actually really excited when Grandpa came down and he asked if he could borrow the Porsche to take Grandma Florence to the Sprout Swiss store. And Jim threw in the keys, like, there you go. And we watched Grandma Florence and Grandpa go down the Elk Grove Boulevard in our green little Porsche 914. You know, we were pacing the floor a little bit, like it's been an hour. I think we should go check. You know? So, but nevertheless, I wrecked the car about 2 weeks later. So, but Jim was really good about it. He was really good about it. He was a good brother. Jim and I did a lot of things together. We built cars, hundreds of cars together. We built. My mom a back washroom. We built ourselves a bedroom. Sometimes we didn't quite have the money and the means to do things, so we just kind of get it framed up. And my mom was excited about the washroom. We did actually when we were younger. Jim came down. He said, I found I had MGB. He helped me put that together. And lo and behold, he was dating a girl at Rick's College. It was actually his a fiance. He'd asked her to marry her, and he had me go down there. And we were doing double dates all the way to Riverside, California from Sacramento. Every weekend, me and Jim, Riverside. And he made sure that I wanted to go because his girlfriend found me a girlfriend down there, a date, so I would go. So we were going back and forth down to Riverside. But Jim and I spent a lot of time together doing a lot of fun things. I think I climbed mountains with them. I've traveled with them in Mexico. And Spencer and Daryl can attest to that. Daryl and Jim, my first mountain climb on Shasta. That's the story into itself. But I want you to know that I love my brother, and I love the many experiences that we had together. And I wouldn't give that for anything in the world. And I appreciate Jim. I know that Jim lives, and I'm looking forward to seeing him again. And I'm sure that would not be too far off. So.